Welcome in. It's time for another edition of Soccer Over There, live from the Brewhouse Cafe in Atlanta. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. I might fall asleep at some point during the show tonight. I will try not to, but it was a late night, early morning, all sorts of weirdness coming back from Los Angeles. I think we signed off on our end from BMO Stadium at, what was it? Probably about 11:15.
Yeah, that's about right.
I think we took off 11:15 Eastern time.
Yeah.
I think we took off sometime after 1 a.m. Eastern time. We were in the air longer than we had initially planned to be. Storms in the Atlanta area. So I know I got in my car at 5:50 a.m. I know I walked in my door before 6:30, and I fell asleep at some point, and then I woke up at some point, and here I am. That's what happens. Welcome to Soccer Over There.
I was wondering what the transportation process was going to be like with everything coming from the west to the east and not knowing how long it was going to take. You mentioned it was 3:45 coming back on the flight time.
Well, that's what they told us. It was more than that.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, I've always thought that when you go out there, it's like 5 hours.
It's not 5. It was 4:25. It was under 4:30 going. Yeah, no espresso this morning for card because I was sleeping.
Yeah.
I probably could have tried to do it once I got back home, but no.
That would have been something.
That would have been delirious. That would have been like the San Jose game in 2018 where we actually did SDH AM after I arrived home because everybody was yelling at me. And yeah, that was beyond stupid because I don't sleep on planes. I can't fall asleep on a plane. It's just I don't sleep in anything that's moving. I don't know why. I just can't. It was actually a pretty smooth flight, but until we got close to Atlanta, and then it got a little bumpy coming down from into our descent. But yeah, I can't sleep on a plane. So I on the way back, I ended up thanks to Mike Conti, I ended up watching Newsroom for the first time.
Oh yeah,
which I had never gotten into.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the morning show on the way out there, as we're talking about streaming habits now on Soccer Over There. I watched the morning show on the way out there, caught up on the new season. I like the broadcast drama stuff, considering I'm in broadcast. It's, I get it. The soap opera stuff is entertaining as well with it. But yeah, I like the building shows and all of the politics and the business and all that stuff. So he's like, well, if you like that, then you should watch Newsroom. And I never did. I didn't have HBO when it was on. So yeah, I watched the first 4 episodes of that, and that kept me awake on the flight back. And yeah, here I am.
No, Newsroom is fantastic television. The first 2 seasons are absolutely unbeatable. Third season, because they had to take a break in production, third season was just as good on a couple of different fronts. The dynamic between Jeff Daniels and the rest of the cast, and now you know why he won the Emmy for that first season. And underrated performance, Olivia Munn.
Yeah. It's really good. I'm enjoying it. I'm only 4 episodes in, so that was my flight back overnight, flying across the country, watching Newsroom for the first time. Yay. So Soccer Over There is going to be a little funky tonight. It's an international break, so it's going to be a little funky to begin with. We are going to get caught up for ours and everyone's hopefully benefit. We're going to get caught up on what's going on in World Cup qualifying because South America is done. UEFA is kind of in the middle now. I think we'll have a better sense of where things stand in Europe at the end of this window. Africa will complete in this window. Asia will complete their 4th round in this window, and then they'll have a 5th round to see who goes to the interconfederational playoff. The Asian process is one of the more ridiculous ones. CONCACAF is in the somewhat early stages, maybe, I guess, middle as well. It's a very different structure than it usually is. We're used to the old hex, not that anymore. So there's some big games in that. We'll get into picks of the week as well. That's why there's no picks of the week board yet. The games have now been chosen. Drew Dickinson ended up winning last week, and we'll talk about how he did that. But he was also in Los Angeles. So he was not able to submit picks. He's out on vacation. So I picked a World Cup qualifying board entirely. So we've got some interesting matches. We'll talk about that. That's all coming up later in the show. But I did tease some announcements to start things off, and you guys are going to be the first to hear about this because we have not shared it yet We've got a lot of promotional things coming with it over the next couple of weeks. But some very cool things have been going on. Obviously, we're back here at the Brewhouse Cafe doing this show each and every week. We're going to be doing a lot of things with both this brewhouse and the new brewhouse opening in South Downtown ahead of the World Cup. We will have essentially hubs at both locations. We'll be doing a lot of programming, both with the SDH network, also with 92.9 The Game and Atlanta Soccer Tonight, which I guess while we're just sharing announcements, we're going to have Atlanta Soccer Tonight every night during the World Cup next summer. It's going to start the first Tuesday in June. So it's going to be about a 6-week run of every night Atlanta Soccer Tonight. The actual time spans will vary a little bit because there will be some that will be elongated, will be in the 6 to 10 slot on 92.9 The Game. There will be some that will be after the last game of the night, which will probably start at 11 Eastern time. So a ton of AST next summer. And we'll be doing a lot of them from both brewhouse locations. So the brewhouse is our official pub partner with the SDH network as part of all of those things coming together. And we have an official craft beer partner of the SDH network. That is NoFo Brewing. We've been there. We've talked to you guys about it. You have heard the Powered by NoFo tag on some of our programming. They are sponsors of Walsall FC in England. They are sponsors of Drogheda United in Ireland. They have a couple more clubs coming down the pike, it looks like. It's a very fascinating story that we're going to continue to tell and we're going to continue to do. But we are working on something very, very cool with NoFo that you will be able to actually sample here at the Brewhouse here in a couple weeks. We're going to have our first ever SDH Network beer for you. Around the Corner Lager is going to debut in a couple weeks here at the Brewhouse. You'll be able to exclusively get it at the Brewhouse Cafe. The plan is for it to be available in cans ahead of the World Cup next summer, and you can then take it home with you. But yeah, a very cool partnership. NoFo has been awesome to work with in this whole process. We wanted something that was the kind of beer that you would have while you're watching a game, a simple, easy drinking lager. That's what Around the Corner Lager is going to be. It will be available the weekend of Decision Day in MLS. So the 18th and 19th will be the first weekend it is available publicly. We're having a big party here at the Brewhouse along with NoFo and in conjunction with the Little 5 Points Halloween Parade, which is always a spectacle if you have never been. That's going to be on Sunday, October 19th, and more to come that weekend as well. So a lot of things coming in terms of that. Official pub partner with the Brewhouse, official craft beer sponsor with NoFo Brewing, and official SDH Network beer, Around the Corner Lager. A lot of things are going to spin off of that. A lot of stuff happening as we get closer and closer to the World Cup. And that's another one we'll go ahead and share with you as well. World Cup draw. We are going to be doing a full day of content that is still taking shape. SDH AM will start in its normal slot and take you up till pretty close to when the draw is going to start in Washington, D.C. We'll have guests. We'll have all the breakdowns, all the permutations, all the stories that to watch for during the draw. That will be helmed by John. I'll be a part of that. Madison Cruz will be a part of that. We'll have plenty of other guests and stars involved in that. Then during the draw, you'll be watching it on Fox. There could be some watch-along things going on as well. Stay tuned on what that could look like. And then after the draw, you'll come back to the SDH Network. Myself and Madison, we will break everything down on how the draw worked out for the U.S., for the defending champions Argentina, for the new faces that are going to be in the tournament, for the other hosts in Canada and Mexico, for all the other favorites. We'll talk about what the group of death is looking like. We'll talk about who's got the easiest draw. We'll get into all that. So Friday, December 5th will be a full day of content. And then if you're not soccered out by the end of the night, you can come up to NoFo Brewing in Cumming and join us for a celebration party for the World Cup draw happening and us kind of knowing what the layout is going to be. Now, we won't know the schedule immediately after the draw. The draw itself is going to get the teams into the groups. FIFA very intelligently did not lock themselves into games and times and all that ahead of the draw, because I think then there will be a little bit of dancing. Like, we'll know what group is coming here. We'll know what teams could come here, for example. There's only one game that is locked because it's in Mexico's group. It won't be Mexico. It'll be two of the other teams in the group that'll play at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We know that game once the draw is done. We won't know the others. That will come out maybe as soon as that evening, maybe the next day. It's going to depend on getting the time slots and getting the scheduling done to maximize it for everybody, to give as many teams good time slots for their home countries as possible. You know, it's an inexact science. I think we know FIFA likes to make money as well. So you're going to want those games as set up as possible to succeed with attendance, which shouldn't be an issue, even though tickets are crazy expensive.
Oh, boy.
With TV ratings, with sponsorship sales, with all of that stuff. All that's going to come after we get the draw. So December 5th will be a very busy day for the SDH network. A lot of cool things coming on the day and ahead of the day, as that really feels like when the World Cup will take real shape for us.
And, you know, you've already got all of the, yes, please hydrate, especially after the everything that you got to divulge there.
It'll be nice to have our own beer.
How wild
show.
Is that?
I mean, as somebody who drinks beer,
yes,
that will be very, very nice. Well, I'll be able to come in and say, I'd like my beer, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'd like not just, you know, my in the sense of the one that you would physically hold in your hand, but mine in the sense of helped create
yes,
the possessive that's attached there.
Yes, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy that we will have an around the corner lager that is the SDH network and brew house partnering on it. I've been to watching games here at the brew house since 1998, and then powered by our friends at Nofo. It's just very, very cool.
And yeah, you've already had, when it comes to start times and things like that, you have folks in Europe who are sitting there and saying, well, we want to have the start time where we can watch it, and you've got those concerns. You have to sit there and manage heat and storms and indoors and roofs. And where is this going to go? And
is it roofs with a V or is it roofs with an F? I think it's with an F.
It's an F, but it's a soft F.
Because you did it with a V, and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right.
It's the F is it's pronounced like a V. It's like, you know, roofs.
Is it?
I mean, I've heard roofs and I've heard roofs. And so I've heard it pronounced as
I'm going to need the chat to jump in on this because I think it's
pronounced as a V, but still as an F.
I've never heard it pronounced as a V.
Oh, I mean, I've heard it pronounced as a V. I've heard it pronounced as an F. You know, roofs.
Did the people who pronounced it as a V, did they just get it wrong?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, but I mean, it's me who's saying it, so of course it could be me.
That's why I'm asking.
So, you know, yeah, anything is humanly possible when it comes to pronunciations and things like that. When your mom's an English major, you have to make sure that everything is.
But you're not.
No, my mom is an English
major. I know,
major.
but you're not.
No, I never have been.
You should.
It's my way of rebellion.
That's your way of rebellion, to say roofs?
Roofs.
Okay.
Well, but I'm also the stickler for.
It is hooves. That degram, that it is hooves.
Yeah, and you know, I'm also.
Now I have to look.
I'm also the guy that is the stickler about mothers-in-law and poets laureate,
sure,
and things like that, instead of poet laureates and mother-in-laws, and I'm the guy that goes to sit there and go RBI. It's not RSBI or RBIs. It's RBI because it's runs batted in.
Yeah. The colloquial turned it to RBIs though.
Yeah, and so for me, it's always been RBI.
Thank you, Hutch. That's what I thought. I was a little confused.
Okay, only with F.
Yeah, it says here that if anybody says roofs, it is considered an error in modern English and should be avoided.
So I speak English very goodly. What else is new?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you speak for a living, so I'm just saying.
Well, but I mean, it's all about colloquialisms and things like that.
Roofs is accepted. Hooves is irregular, and that's why it goes.
The irregular
hooves.
Noun.
It's an irregular one.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go. There's your English lesson for the day.
But yeah, the idea of having our own beer. How much went into when it goes to discussion, and have you gotten to the taste testing part yet?
I have not, because it was being finished in the tanks, so I have not had a chance to taste it yet. I have gotten good reviews back from people who have had a chance to taste it. People who know far more about me, about beer than me in terms of the permutations of putting everything together. I just had some ideas on what I like, what kind of things that I thought would work. Again, we wanted it to be and it's kind of a like hot trend in the brewery industry, the kind of lighter lagers that are like session drinks.
Okay.
No, it is NoFo Brewing, David. It is NoFo Brewing, our friends, powered by NoFo up in Cumming and Forsyth and Gainesville. And there's also a really cool one up in, I believe it is in Cleveland, near Helen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool location. I have not had a chance to go up to that one yet, and I really want to because it looks amazing. But yeah, NoFo Brewing, which is a Georgia beer, but sponsors and is involved in Walsall and Drogheda United, and again, some more clubs that are coming down the pike.
Yeah, and there it is on the Helen Highway, 1939 Helen Highway. Up in
Okay, and it is in Cleveland. Okay,
yes.
I wanted to make sure I had the town correct.
Yes, it is in Cleveland.
Cool. Well, that we'll probably be doing some shows up that way. We'll be doing some shows in Gainesville for sure. We'll be doing some shows in Cumming, like I said, for the World Cup draw. The after party will be at NoFo, and Around the Corner Lager will be available at all the NoFo tap rooms as well. Very, very cool stuff. So big thank you to everybody, Joe Garcia at NoFo, to Humberto Bermudez here at the Brew House, to Scott Flood for being involved on all the partnership stuff. And thanks to you guys, because you guys watching and listening and consuming all this stuff makes it to where people want to partner with us. So we get a chance to partner with some really cool people because of y'all. So big time thank you for that. The weekend was a hectic one. Yes, Ricky, Mike did have a rough sports weekend. I was with him at the Rose Bowl for Penn State, becoming, I think, the 6th team ever to be a top 10 team and lose to an 0-4 team. There'd only been 5 before that, which is wild.
BYU was the last one to be a part of that.
I think they lost to UTEP, if I remember seeing it right.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
But then the others, you're going back to like the 40s and 50s. So Penn State made history. It wasn't good history. It was the first chance I'd been to the Rose Bowl, so that was cool. Had club seats, so it was very nice. Love the sight lines. It's a fascinating venue because it's like in a neighborhood. And it's
next to a golf course.
Yeah, people are parking on the golf course. Kind of weird to get to. We ended up walking from the metro station about 2.5 miles.
Oh, wow.
You can do a shuttle as well, but we walked back and forth with a lot of sad Penn State fans afterwards. So, yeah, it was pretty convenient. We stayed in downtown LA and did that back there. His blood pressure was not good. It was not good at all. Yes, Ricky, SDH beer is coming. It's amazing. And if you have not checked out NoFo, definitely do so. Everything that I've tried there, I've really enjoyed. They have a porter that is out now that I have not had yet, and I really want to try that because we're getting into almost kind of porter stout kind of weather. It's starting to cool down a little bit. So the trip to LA, the other thing I wanted to talk about, and it kind of does relate over here to soccer over there, is seeing the vibe with Son Heung-min at LAFC. LAFC, I think, has one of the best vibes in general. I've loved every game that we've done out there. I love the atmosphere. It is very unique. There's not another stadium in Major League Soccer. There's not another stadium in the world that sounds like BMO Stadium. It is very unique to what that fan base and that soccer culture is. Well, now that's changed because you have a gigantic influx of Korean fans, which, you know, were there before, but now, like, cool things like I saw, like seeing Korean fans in, you know, Vela jerseys, seeing, you know, Latino fans in Sun jerseys, and seeing Korean flags everywhere, along with all the other flags of all the other players from LAFC. It was just really different. You had K-pop being played in the stadium.
Oh, wow.
Alongside all the Latin stuff. Like, it was just really, really cool. I loved it. I've loved that stadium every time we've been. It was an entertaining game. LAFC, I said it on the broadcast many times last night, they're my favorite to win MLS Cup. Adding Son, adding Schwanier, adding, they had one more.
Duran?
No, Moran. Moran was the other one that I like that's really upped them. This is the best team right now in the league, in my opinion. And Atlanta to go out there and play them toe-to-toe, and it's kind of a fluky goal that you give up, and that's been Atlanta's story in 2025. But I thought they played well. I thought they matched them in general. They weren't creating as many chances the other way, but they weren't giving up a whole lot of great chances either.
Yeah.
It was the save with the left hand from Jaden Hibbert. It was one good save in the first half, maybe one more. And that was about it. LAFC had a lot of shots that weren't great. Atlanta did a good job of maintaining on the road in that venue against the best team in the league until the mistake happens and you narrowly lose. That's Atlanta's story this year. But I think you got a good, interesting chess match between the two because they basically matched up in 3-4-2-1s. And it was a fun game to call. Alan Chapman was interesting. Haven't seen a referee put his finger in a player's chest multiple times in ever. Mike had a big problem with that on the call. I did as well because we've seen, go back to Thiago Almada. I believe Ezequiel Barco might have gotten in trouble with something like this, where referees can engage with players and get into their space. And if a player touches a referee, it is a multiple game suspension. A referee cannot initiate contact, in my opinion, with a player. And it was somewhat aggressive.
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
It wasn't like back up. It wasn't friendly. It could have gotten a bad reaction. It didn't, thankfully. But that should not happen. And we're probably never going to hear anything else about it. And this is the kind of stuff that needs to be reprimanded, that needs to be publicly talked about. I hope Pro does this week. I really do not expect it. I think that's a horrible look because there's just so many times, and you think about games around the world where a referee initiates contact with a player and that player then reacts.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a bad scene. And Alan Chapman ran that risk by poking his finger in Bartosz Ślisz's chest last night in a fairly aggressive manner.
Yeah, repeatedly. And we talked about it this morning when Bart Keeler visited from Soccer for US POD, and he was stunned as someone who referees on the U levels. He's stunned about that kind of contact that you had, and the ref cam. The ref cam is traditionally it's a really cool idea where you get to sit there and you get to see Schlegel from the purple team just sit there and go with shocked face, like Salvador Dali or whatever in a painting. And the ref cam basically is all the evidence that you needed in this case to see that Alan Chapman was the aggressor in this. You had Atlanta United players behind Bart Ślisz trying to explain, hey, this is what happened to Bart on that particular play that didn't get a call. Yeah. And Alan Chapman with ref cam on his head is sitting there and he's taking that index finger and doing the finger poke of doom repeatedly on the sternum of Bart Ślisz. And like you said, we're waiting for the magic envelope to come from either PSRA or Pro to the Casa de Chapman or whatever. And
I doubt it will.
And I can't wait for the news dump that happens late Friday afternoon.
I'm not even expecting it to be mentioned
on a weekend.
I'm honestly not even expecting it to be mentioned.
And I give Bart all the credit in the world for having restraint in that situation.
Yeah.
Because to your point, it could have escalated. It could have gotten nasty.
Yep.
If because literally you're in someone's face and you're in their space and you're sitting there and you're poking and poking and poking. And Bart was trying to just stand there and try to understand and explain what he was trying to. It was just I was shocked when I saw that on the air.
Yeah, it was a just bizarre situation all the way around. All right, let's get into some World Cup qualifying conversation. We'll get into picks of the week here in just a little bit. Some little bits of news, and I think you're starting to see this compressed World Cup window entirely. Remember, it started 6 months later than usual because of 2022 World Cup being in the winter window. So you had 3.5 years between tournaments. You've added a Club World Cup into the mix as well. Teams are playing more games than ever before. Now you're starting to see some injuries pile up right now, which is in that scary zone, depending on the injury, of how long somebody could be out. Rodri is going to miss out on Spain's World Cup qualifiers this week. He was forced off injured in the win on Sunday, played just 22 minutes. It was a hamstring injury. Luckily, nothing to do with his ACL. Pep Guardiola's talked about it so far with he's not 100% yet. As we know with ACLs, it's usually a year after you come back where you really start to feel yourself again. he's had a lot of soreness, a lot of things, and Pep's like, if he's not right, I'm not going to play him. I'm gonna leave him out. This is different. Hopefully, something somewhat minor. But Spain will be without Rodri. They will be without Lamine Yamal as well, as that's a really tricky situation with Spain and Barcelona. And you're getting a lot of comments in the media from Hansi Flick towards the Spanish Federation and then back. And it's a pretty ugly thing. He was called up, and in Barcelona immediately announced that he was injured.
Yeah. And they have their first matchup is on the 11th in this window. Obviously, a massive favorite hosting Georgia in this. By the way, Georgia is a plus in the early juice boxes. Georgia to win that particular match is basically a plus 1950. And that's a large number. Spain,
Yes.
a prohibitive favorite. So I think that even if on some plane you wanted to sit there and say, you know, he's here, we're in this window, do we need him in that first match? The answer is no. But right now, there are multiple teams on club and country front looking at Rodri and having to navigate and understand what's going to be happening there. And you know, on the club front, you know how important a cog he is to the success of what Pep Guardiola wants to do at Manchester City. And so you have to navigate that as well. So Pep's keeping an eye on it. National team's keeping an eye on it. So Rodri's domino effect has a bunch of different tentacles attached to it.
Yeah, it's a complicated one there. Another complicated one is Kylian Mbappe. He had a minor ankle injury for Real Madrid over the weekend. There was a lot of concern on if he would be available for France. He will be. Didier Deschamps said that Kylian is here. He had a small issue, but nothing prohibitive. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here today. It did talk about him not being 100%. So is he actually going to play? They're a Thursday, Monday, or Thursday's their first game. They host Azerbaijan on Friday, and then they face Iceland on Monday. 2 games France should be okay with. Maybe he doesn't start in either game, but yeah, he is with the squad. That was a question mark coming in.
Yeah, Azerbaijan a plus 49.25, France a minus 5,000 if you're looking at those kinds of juice boxes. So I think that if you're Didier Deschamps, you can sit there and say, yeah, we don't need you to start. We'll keep an eye on you. We'll see how you respond when you're out there on match day and warm-ups and everything. And if the engine's not working, then we're going to go ahead and sit you and not really worry about it.
Florian Thauvin will be part of the squad. He's replacing the injured Bradley Barcola, one of my favorite players. I think he's so underrated. He's not going to be able to go here. Yamal, already talked about on the Spanish side of things. It's getting interesting in Europe, and let's maybe start there. We'll get into Africa and Asia because those are getting down to the nitty-gritty. Let's get into the UEFA qualifying situation for everybody because the cycles are so different. I mean, I've watched World Cup qualifying going back to 1990 really closely, and 98 was where I really got into it. I don't know if y'all remember the FIFA video game for 98. It was called Road to the World Cup, and it was the first time that they had every country in it. So you could do the full qualification schedule. And it's when I was in college, so a lot of time over beers was spent trying to qualify random teams to a World Cup. It was very, very cool. So that was where I kind of got into the mix of what World Cup qualifying's like, what the cycle is like, what it's like region to region, and all that. We'll come back, Ricky, to that. Hold the Tata Martino rumor. We'll get into that here in a little bit. Because there's different reporting out there on different sides of it. But we'll get into that when we get it ahead of picks of the week. The UEFA qualifying situation, you are now into match days 7 and 8. There will be 2 more in November, and in the group stage will be done. The playoff rounds will be in March. You have to win your group to automatically qualify, number 1. So that's a little different than it's been in the past. It's not quite as forgiving. There are ways to get in if you don't finish and if you're second place, but not all the second place teams even go to the playoff. So the other complicated thing about it is you have some groups with uneven numbers of games because you had teams involved in Nations League and playing extra games there. So Group A, it is interesting, even though they've only played 2 games each, because Germany is in third place right now. So Germany, based on Nations League, they will automatically at least get into the playoff. Nations League performance is going to get a few teams into the playoff in March. So that's another weird element here to the UEFA qualifying. But Germany's in third. They've won one, they've lost one. Slovakia is a perfect 2-0. Northern Ireland has 3 points along with Germany, and Luxembourg have none in that one. Group B, it's Switzerland, who is perfect 2 of 2. Kosovo is next with 1 win. Sweden and Slovenia are third and fourth with a draw against one another. Little surprising on Sweden being where they are. We'll see if that changes as we go. We'll get into the schedule for each of the groups in just a bit. Group C, it's Denmark and Scotland, both on 4. Greece on 3. There's going to be some really fascinating games in this group. Belarus has nothing there. Group D, it's France on 6, Iceland on 3, Ukraine on 1, and Azerbaijan on 1. That should be France all the way through. Nothing to really worry about there. Group E, kind of the same situation. Spain, perfect 6 points. Georgia on 3, Turkey on 3, Bulgaria on 0. It's Spain's group to lose. Group F, it's Portugal's group to lose. They are 2 of 2 in wins. Armenia is next with a win. Hungary and Ireland are on a point. The battle for second to try to get into the playoff could be interesting in Group F. Group G, this is where you get into some groups that have already had a bunch of games. So the Dutch, with 4 games played, they're on 10 points. Poland, with 5 games played, are on 10 points. Finland, 5 games played, 7 points. So they're right there in the mix. Lithuania on 3, Malta on 2. But the Dutch and Poland, they drew last time in the September window. Sliech started that one. He's become an instrumental part for Poland as they try to get into the World Cup, either directly or through the playoff. Group H, this is another one with an odd number of games. Bosnia and Herzegovina with 12 points through 5. Austria with 12 points through 4. They're a perfect 4-0. They've only conceded twice. They've scored 9. Romania on 7, probably on the outside looking in. Cyprus and San Marino were on the outside looking in to start with. Cyprus has 4 points. That's not too bad for Cyprus.
Yep.
San Marino has scored a goal. They've conceded 18.
Yes, but they scored a goal.
They scored a goal. Group I, Norway, perfect 5 of 5. Italy might not make it to another World Cup.
Sorry, Nick.
They're on 9 points through 4. Israel on 9 points through 5. Estonia, 3 points. Moldova, 0. You've got a very interesting game in this window with Italy and Estonia, where Italy is going to need to score as many goals as possible, because this group is the one that what Norway did to Moldova, winning 11-1. Italy could beat Norway in Italy in the November window and still not jump them, because if that's the only loss for Norway, and if Italy wins everything but their loss in Oslo that was 3-0, then it comes down to goal difference. And right now it's Norway plus 21 and it's Italy plus 5.
Mm-hmm.
So Italy's going to have to beat some people up to get there. And I don't know if they're capable of that.
Nope.
Group J, another really interesting one, maybe the most interesting one. North Macedonia, 5 games played, 11 points. Belgium, 4 games played, 10 points. Wales, 5 games played, 10 points. Then Kazakhstan and Liechtenstein complete the group. Kazakhstan has a win over Liechtenstein.
Hey, Liechtenstein hadn't scored either.
They have not scored. They've conceded 19. They have not scored at all. But North Macedonia has not lost. 3 wins and 2 draws. Belgium hasn't either. Wales has 1 loss, but they're all still there in it. Group K, it's England, 5 of 5. They're perfect. Albania is next, trying to get into a playoff spot. They're on 8 points. Serbia's on 7. Latvia on 4. Andorra on 0. Group L, Croatia, perfect 4 of 4, 12 points. Czech Republic, 12 points through 5 games. Faroe Islands have 2 wins. They're on 6 points. Montenegro have 6 points as well. Gibraltar, no points. They've scored twice. So can we just set up a tournament for Liechtenstein, San Marino, and Gibraltar?
Well, and Andorra, you know.
Well, we could keep going a whole bunch of them, but those are the 3 that are the worst. Andorra, they haven't scored, but they've only conceded 10. That's pretty good compared to these others.
Yeah. And the Faroe Islands, by the way, have won 2 of their last 3 to get to 6 points.
Look at the Faroe Islands go.
Go, Faroe, go.
Wild. Okay, so you want to pull up the schedule for this round of games here in October and some of the more interesting ones. You've got those groups that have only played 2 games, a little bit harder to tell. A couple of those, you have a pretty good idea. Let's maybe start with Germany and their schedule, because the Germans are right now on the outside looking in. They have in this window
Luxembourg to start.
Luxembourg first, so they should be fine with that. And it doesn't matter where that game is being played.
Home game.
Okay, but then Germany and Northern Ireland.
Ooh.
At Northern Ireland, if I am not mistaken, on the 13th.
And so your early juice box is obviously big for Germany, and with the matchup on the 10th, we haven't gotten as far as the 13th yet with the numbers.
Yeah. What are the juice boxes against Luxembourg?
Minus 2,000, and Luxembourg is basically a plus 4,600.
Yeah, don't.
No, don't.
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it. Slovakia, what do they have in this window?
They are at Northern Ireland to start in that same October 10th start to their window. They are a plus 213 at Northern Ireland. They are an underdog in that match. Northern Ireland a plus 148, draws plus 200.
So Northern Ireland, maybe the 2 biggest games they've had in a long, long time, both at home as they get Slovakia and Germany. If they somehow get 2 wins, then they're in pole position, which would be a wild turn of events.
Wow.
Group B, let's see what Sweden has in this window. It looks like 2 home games, but 2 tough home games.
Okay.
As they try to get in.
Hang on just a second. Sweden.
They host Switzerland on the 10th.
Oh, there it is. They're one of the 245s. They are a favorite at a plus 141. Switzerland on the road a plus 188.
The Swiss have not conceded in 2 games. Sweden, you think in that group, you see Sweden, you think they're probably going to be the ones to get out of it, but the Swiss have been really good. This is Sweden's window because they get Switzerland and Kosovo at home. They have to make a jump here. They're on 1 point. They're 5 points back from Switzerland. So even if they beat the Swiss, they're still going to need some help and probably going to have to be perfect the rest of the way.
Well, and Kosovo start that window with a home match against Slovenia, and they're favored in that one at a plus 131 too.
Yeah, Kosovo should be on 6 points coming into Oslo for the second game on the 13th. So that gets interesting. You look ahead a little bit, and Kosovo has to host Switzerland on the last day, which will be a very, very interesting game. If you know anything about guys like Granit Xhaka, Xherdan Shaqiri, players, there's a lot of ties between Switzerland and Kosovo. So for potentially the World Cup spot to come down to that game, that's going to be a very fascinating one to watch in Group B in UEFA. Group C, Denmark and Scotland. Let's look at our Scottish friends in this one. They get the Greeks coming to Glasgow for game 1. And then the Scots get another home game. They get Belarus in the second one, which they should win. Greece is 1 point back. So it's 4-4-3 in this one, with Denmark, the team that most people are expecting to get through. Denmark in this window, they get Greece at home, and then they have to go to Belarus. So Denmark very well could be perfect in the window. Scotland gets interesting here. Can the Scots do it?
Yep, it is. Let's see. With Denmark at Belarus right now, Denmark a minus 769, Belarus a plus 2230.
Yeah, we will see where that one goes. I think Denmark's going to get there. We'll see if our old friend Yorgos Yakimakis is able to make something happen with the Greeks, but I don't even know if he's playing at this point. He's been injured so much as of late. I think Denmark will get through there. They should, but watch out for the Scots in Group C. Group D, we mentioned the French. I don't think there's a whole lot to this group, honestly. The French, they get Azerbaijan in game 1. They have to go to Iceland and Reykjavik in game 2. They should be just fine, even if they are dealing with some injuries. No worries there. Group E, we talked about Spain. That's another one that should be fine. The game with Spain hosting the Republic of Georgia and Saba Lobjanidze, that's Georgia's big opportunity to try to steal something out of that. Turkey is the other team in that group that could be worth paying attention to. They will host the Republic of Georgia, who two really tough road games here. And the Turkey, they will then, as I look at it, go to Bulgaria, who has been very poor in this round of games. Spain should be fine. Group F, Portugal should be fine. I'm not really worried about them. They get 2 home games in this window. They get Ireland. They get Hungary. They should be just fine. Let's get to the ones that have played multiple games. We're getting into some very interesting situations here, like the Dutch. So the Dutch will start things on the road at Malta. You got juice boxes for the Dutch and Malta on October 9th?
Netherlands on the road at Malta are a minus 2,000. Malta is a plus 42.65 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Your draw is a plus 13.95.
Malta has graduated from our UEFA weird mix of teams because they have drawn twice in World Cup qualifying. They only scored 1 goal, but they have drawn twice. As we try to bring in Madison Cruz to the conversation remotely. What's up, Maddie? Hold on.
What's up, everybody?
There she is.
Gotcha. We're getting through UEFA World Cup qualifying here as we look at some of the different groups and some of the games to watch in this window. The Dutch and Poland and Finland group is where we are, Group G. The Dutch will start things pretty comfortably on the road at Malta before hosting Finland. Finland is 2-1-2 in this round, or 2-2-1 if you want to look at it from an American convention of wins, draws, losses. We're based in the U.S. It's called soccer over there. It's what we do. But when you look at Poland, and we've followed Poland a little more closely because of Bartosz Slisz, Poland in this window, both games, or no, they only have 1 game in this window. This is one of the awkward groups where you've got an odd number of teams.
5 teams, yeah.
So Poland don't play in the first round of games, and then they go on the road to Lithuania in the second round. Lithuania has not won. Pretty decent goal differential, -2. 5 goals for, 7 goals against, 3 draws out of 5. But Poland, with what the Dutch have, 2 games that they should win. Poland has to win against Lithuania. And in Poland, in the last round of games, they will host the Dutch on the 14th of November, and they will then finish things up in Malta. So you look ahead for Poland. We talk about Slisz and if he can get in automatically here. It's going to come down to them hosting the Dutch in the next round of games. You have to take care of business here, which they should against Lithuania. But, Maddie, we've talked to Ronnie Dyla about this. We've watched how Bartosz has played this season. I've said many times I think he's been Atlanta United's best player. I think we're seeing the situation that we talk about a lot where the national team form affects their club form. Sometimes it goes the other way, and good club form then affects national team form. I think as we've watched Bartek become a more regular fixture with Poland, he's played better at the club level. And I think when he came back from the last window, he was on fire in training, and he's been on fire in games.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bartek, I would also agree with you that I think Bartek's been Atlanta's best player this season. I think it's one of those things, especially when the turning point, I think especially one of the first few times Ronnie Dyla spoke about, this team, especially fighting back in matches. I think Bartosz Slisz took that and said, all right, let's go. And he just dialed it up. And it's been so fun to watch him continue to grow as a player and continue to see him just continue to excel in the midfield and just being someone who just is absolutely does not care. It's like
in a good way.
Yes.
Yes. In a very good way. Like in a very much like, don't mess with me vibe. Like yes. Very much like in that way. And I love it. And I think it's showing also in the way that he is playing too. I think his mentality, and I think his also him playing too. I feel like we've been seeing him get a little bit more comfortable, especially offensively, and getting forward and like being an option, especially up top too. And also we know how solid he can be defensively as well. But yeah, I think him going and playing for Poland, I think that does give a huge boost as well. And also as well have to give a huge congratulations because he is now a father as well, which is very, very cool. So that's a huge congratulations to Bartosz Slisz and his wife as well. But yeah, that gives you a wave of confidence. And, going in, especially to being someone who is slowly becoming more of a fixture too in the national team level as well, being someone that is being relied upon too. And that's another element to look at. And, especially when you look ahead to next year, that's going to give another huge wave of confidence to Bartek and, being a leader and a staple on Atlanta United, also on the Polish national team too.
And at the same time, when you're a new father, it adds that level of responsibility to your family, to whatever you want to use that 6-letter word to mean, either under the same roof with your wife and new child, or with the family that you have with your athletic program, whether it's national or club. And so you take more upon yourself. You're shouldering a different section of the burden, those kinds of things emotionally, and you feel things a little deeper. And so it's a 3-dimensional thing, I think, for Bart becoming that new father.
Yeah, I think you're seeing all of that play out, the responsibility in multiple different ways that he now feels he's channeling into great performances. And I've said it before, he's somebody that I hope is here for a long time, and I hope he wears the captain's armband more regularly, because I think he can be that kind of a leader, and you're seeing it really start to come to the fore. We'll see if it can help get Poland into the World Cup. I would say they're a pretty good favorite to get into the playoffs, at least if they don't. But yeah, I think he's going to be a big factor on either side of that. If they get through automatically and beat the Dutch, and maybe probably going to need a little bit of help. The Dutch, their last games, they get Finland, they get Lithuania, they go to Poland, and they go to Malta. So you're going to need somebody to trip them up. Maybe the Finns. We'll see. And you're going to need to win that game at home as well. We will see where that one goes.
Poland and Lithuania, by the way, currently off the board.
Well, yeah. I mean, Poland is much better than Lithuania, so that should be fine. Let's go to Group H. Austria has been one of the stories of World Cup qualifying. They've won 4 of 4, 9 goals scored, 2 conceded. Ralph Rangnick taking what we've seen from him at the club level, the very kind of the I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, old school, and not saying it's outdated, but the old school kind of pressing style that didn't work at Manchester United, for example, that hasn't worked always at the club level. It has worked in some cases at the club level. It's working at the national team level, and he's got Austria in a really good spot. They will host San Marino on October 9th. What are your odds?
Plus San Marino in the composite is a plus 69.67.
Is that the biggest number on the board?
The biggest number on the board is probably Austria on the flip side, because they are so far with a 1 and so many decimal points at the minus. Literally, it is listed as 1.00. It's not a plus 100, but it is listed at 1.00. So take that 100 and move it over. So you're talking at least a minus 10,000.
You might make $1 or a juice box on if you bet 100 juice boxes, basically.
I mean, like 10,000. Because
no, you're not going to make 10,000 juice boxes.
Oh, there it was. It finally changed. So it is a minus 10,000 for Austria going up against San Marino, who's now a plus 6,500. So the numbers are going down as we're talking about them.
Yes, we are affecting the odds worldwide. John, that's what we do here on Soccer Over There. We've seen this happen before.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about Ralph Rangnick. We give him his flowers. And Austria, people are if you're putting money down on Austria and San Marino right now listening to this, you are absolutely a degenerate, and you probably need some help.
Plus 6,500 for San
There's
Marino.
people to call. Please do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, wow. Austria, they host San Marino, and then they, in this window, will go to Romania, which is a little tricky. That'll be a good test for Rangnick and his group. They will finish up in November 1st at Cyprus. Should be fine there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to come down to the last game in this group. They will host Bosnia and Herzegovina on the last day, November 18th.
October 12, Austria is a minus 111 at Romania. Romania is a plus 300. The draw plus 220.
Yeah, a favorite. Not crazy number.
Not that minus 10,000 we just saw.
4 card. Yes, I know you're all degenerates. This is true. However, Austria San Marino is a level of degeneration that should not exist. Don't do it. Please do not. Group I, another level of degeneration that should not exist, because Italy is going to need to run up scores big time. They are.
Yeah, Italy's got it rough.
Well, there's 16 goals. This is the thing, is it was one bad game. Like they lost bad to Norway and Oslo. They end up having to make the coaching change. They bring in Gennaro Gattuso. He probably threatens people's lives. They've won every game that he's played, even the crazy game with Israel that went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But Italy is now in a situation where they have to win out, but they also have to overturn the goal differential. And it's a 16-goal difference.
Oof.
So Italy, in their efforts to do this, they will start things at Estonia, who has conceded 13 goals in 5 games. They've won 1. They beat Moldova. But Italy's going to need to win and win by a few. Then Italy will host Israel on October 14th. And in the last 2 games for Italy, they will go to Moldova, where they are going to need to put up as many goals as possible, because Moldova is the one who got beat 11-1 by Norway. So that's the game that has tilted everything. And then it comes down to the last day, another group where the schedule works out perfectly. Italy will host Norway, and depending on what they do in Estonia and in Moldova, we'll see how many goals they're going to need to beat Norway by, who hasn't lost, by the way.
No.
Italy's going to have to beat them, and they might have to beat them by a few on the last day to avoid the playoff.
Italy right now going into the Estonia match is a minus 1,000. Estonia in the composite of plus 2468. I see a number like that, and I just sit there and think that these folks are just, let's just put even numbers out there. Okay, so plus 2468. That's what they did to come up with that number. There's no rhyme or reason.
They know much better than you. Maddie, we've talked about Norway and Italy a lot over this run of games ever since Norway beat Italy earlier. Italy missed out on 2018. They missed out on 2022. I don't believe they have missed out on 3 straight tournaments. I don't think they had missed out on 2 straight before they missed out on 2022. Right now, they're staring at a playoff. It would be, Italy is one of those countries with so many stars above the crest that you want to see at a World Cup. How much of a loss would it be if Italy doesn't make it to 2026?
I think it'd be a huge loss.
Oh, boy.
Absolutely. Absolutely, horrendous loss. Especially, it's one to go, miss one as well. The U.S. also missed one too. They missed one. Then to go back and also miss Qatar, that's another one too. It adds another fuel. And then especially heading into this one, then it's like, oh, things really aren't looking that great, are they? And that's everyone's shaking their head. Everyone's like, oh, is this actually real?
Keep an eye on Nick.
Yeah, yes, everyone, please.
I think he's almost enjoying the ridiculousness at this point.
And I feel like it's only fitting that it would just get more ridiculous as well.
It could,
especially with that whole group too. It just has a feeling that it could just be insane. But yeah, no, if they miss a 3rd straight, there's going to be serious conversations about the national team and everything going on there, because there is so much talent too. And it's one of those things where it seems to be taking a turn. I think that they are taking a turn, especially with everything and all the changes too. So I'm really curious to see how those matches are going to shape out. But yeah, if you're looking at 3 straight no appearances in the World Cup, that's that's rough. That's rough.
Italy is in an interesting situation, and we talk about where MLS stands all the time in the world and what leagues are like. I mean, Italy has signed quite a few guys that maybe you wouldn't have seen go to other leagues in Serie A. And somebody like Luka Modric, for example, who was talked about MLS at one point, and he ended up going to Milan. But what you're seeing with so many older players in Serie A is it's blocking the young players coming through. And you get these younger guys who just can't find playing time. And they have talent. But as we're about to see later this week, the Italian U20s are going to play the U.S. U20s in the round of 16 in the U20 World Cup. And the U.S. is favored in that game. Italian player development has been awful, and it's something that Nick gets into all the time. It's something that I'm going to push him to do his own podcast about, to break it down for everybody, because we still think of Italy as, one of the gold standards in the game. They haven't been in a long time. And it's a shame, because there is talent. but it's not being developed and furthered in the right way. It's just fascinating. Ricky Ricardo says it would be bigger than the other two absences that Italy has had, given the prior knowledge of what's happened. And this would be the biggest one because it's expanded. And you could have Cape Verde in and not Italy. You will have, Uzbekistan in and not Italy. It's wild. Das Reboot is Ricky Ricardo, what you were talking about with Germany when they did a revamp of their national team program. Italy needs to do that at an even stronger level. Mexico also did one. And I believe it was after 2002 where they really started to prioritize Liga MX clubs playing young players. And there were mandates, but then there were also rewards for doing it. And that combination worked really well. You're going to have to do that in Italy. You're going to have to figure that out. We talked about it last week. I love what Serie A is doing here in the States, specifically with the presentation with Paramount Plus. I've watched more Serie A over the last year or 2 years than I've ever had a chance to watch, and I've really enjoyed it. And now I will generally choose it on a Saturday morning because I really enjoy the way that they're doing it. The league's very good, but they've got to find a way to develop more young talent.
Right now, the U20 numbers, the early juice boxes on that one, the U.S. U20 is a plus 119. Italy's U20 is a plus 224.
Yep.
In that matchup on the 9th at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yep. The U.S. is favored on that one. That is going to be on our picks of the week this week as well. That was the one non-World Cup qualifier that made it into the list. We'll get into that here in just a little bit.
That's fancy.
Group J, the Belgium group. So you've got Belgium and Wales on 10. You've got North Macedonia on 11. So your games of interest in this round, Belgium is hosting North Macedonia on October 10th. That's the first game in the window. And then Belgium will go to Wales. So Belgium has two tricky games here that'll be critical for them. They've got a game in hand on everybody. So, they're on 10 points. They're 1 point back, but they have that game in hand, so they should be fine. The Welsh, they will, in this window, only play one game because of the odd number of teams in the group, and that will be the game they host against Belgium. North Macedonia, in addition to going to Belgium, they will host Kazakhstan, who has 1 win out of 5. So Belgium is the one that you see in that group. You see the draw. You're like, oh, Belgium, no problem. They'll get through fine. But you're in a weird situation in Belgium where you've got a generation that was a golden generation that is in a lot of ways either on the back end or they're gone completely. They've already had to make a coaching change in this window, and they're not guaranteed to get there. And they have more talent than North Macedonia or Wales, but they might not make it.
Belgium right now against North Macedonia, a minus 625. North Macedonia, a plus 1810. Draws a plus 618 in the composite.
That is a very, very enticing game.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'll say about it, because North Macedonia has 3 wins, 2 draws, 11 goals, 2 goals conceded. Only 2 goals conceded. This is a good defensive team in North Macedonia. Drew with Belgium at home. So now they got to go on the road in this one to Brussels. They drew with Wales at home. They've beaten the teams they should beat. They got draws at home. They're going to need to probably steal one on the road against Belgium and Wales, and that's their last 2 road games left. They're going to need to win one of those to get through, but I'm not as sold on Belgium.
You want that plus 618?
The draw is probably what I'm looking at, honestly. More so than North Macedonia winning on the road. But yeah, I'm not sold on Belgium. So they might have to go through the playoff route. But with 3 teams fighting for 2 spots, they might not get into the playoff. Group K, it's really down to who's going to go to the playoff. England is fine with 5 wins out of 5. No worries at all. They haven't conceded a goal. I think for all the consternation about Maurizio Pochettino and has he picked the right roster? Does he know his starting 11? All the usual suspects throwing out all the headlines.
He doesn't talk to his players.
Yeah, all the dumb stuff. Thomas Tuchel, it's the same thing. I guess that's where we take our cues, is from how England gets talked about. England's fine. what they are now, they should be better by the time you get to next summer. I think Jack Grealish is trying to play his way back into that conversation. Phil Foden is kind of in and out. We'll see if he can solidify himself ahead of that. There are some question marks. They will get there. No worries about that one. It's the playoff spot that's interesting in Group K. Albania, who, when you look at them right now, they have left. Let's see. In this window, they only play the one game. It is at Serbia, which is a huge game. I believe a somewhat complicated game politically.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. So that one's fascinating. And then they get 2 in the November window. They go to Andorra. No problems with that one. And then they will host England, who should already be in by that point. So that gets weird for Albania. On the Serbian part of it, they have the game in hand in this group. So in this window, they will host Albania, and they will go to Andorra. So the Serbia and Albania game is one of the bigger games in this window.
Albania is a plus 423 on the road at Serbia, who's a minus 135. And quoting our Internetian overlords, Albanian-Serbian relations are historically complex, marked by mutual distrust and conflict, largely due to competing nationalisms and the Kosovo conflict, where Kosovo is the key point of contention. Despite ongoing political friction, there have been efforts at political rapprochement since 2014, supported by the EU and US, but significant challenges remain, including Serbia's non-recognition of Kosovo's independence.
Yeah, that makes it a little complicated. I can tell you this, and I don't think it's really been talked about, even though Albania put this out 4 days ago. Enea Mihai has been called back up to the Albanian national team for this round of games. And, Maddie, we had the chance to talk to Enea after he got here to Atlanta, and I'd ask him about it, I think, in the media scrum, and then we talked about it further, just what it meant to play for his national team and come in here to play more consistently at a higher level, what that could do for him. It looks like it's gotten him back into the national team for a critical game on the road at Serbia.
Well, first of all, a huge congratulations to Enea. I think it's well-deserved. I think since he's come to Atlanta, it's been you can see especially the impact that he has had, not only in the back line defensively, but just I think throughout the team too. Ronnie Dyla said it to us in media as well, talked about him being a fighter, being a leader, and that's something you need. And I immediately think of the first time he subbed in, his first appearance for Atlanta United, something I think we all pointed out. Immediately as he was checking in, he was pointing directions. He was delivering some messages. Like, he was being engaged. He wasn't sitting back. Like, he was being vocal. And I think that's exactly what you need. And I think we all get so caught up in, yes, this person wearing the captain's armband, but everyone can be a leader and everyone can be a voice out there on the pitch. There's 11 guys out there. You're not relying on one person to be the distributor of, hey, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. It's everybody. And I think that's what Enea brings. And I think it's well-deserved that he gets to call it for Albania, especially in a really, really crucial matchup too. I think it's one as well that it's just really cool. And I think, there is that pride. It's kind of like the same thing with Bartosz Slisz, it's the same thing with Enea. It's, there's a sense of pride. Also, he's a new father as well too. There is that sense of pride. I think he said it in our thing, he wants his son to be proud of him when he steps out there, not because of, you win or lose. It's, I want him to see me out there and see that I'm putting my best foot forward. And that is exactly what it needs to be. And if you haven't had the chance to listen to our conversation with Enea, I totally recommend it. It really was such a great conversation, and just getting to know him a little bit more is who he is. And, and it's just, it was awesome. So if you haven't, this is not a shameless plug. It kind of is, but it also kind of is. But definitely it is a must listen if you have not yet. It really is very, very good.
Yeah, I hope he gets into that game against Serbia.
Absolutely.
Really looking forward to that one. Group L's, we finish up in UEFA. Croatia, perfect 4 out of 4, 17 goals scored, 1 conceded. They will play 2 games in this window. One of them is hosting Gibraltar, which could be really ugly.
Yeah.
And Croatia will start things off against the team they are level with at the top of the table, Czechia. That is on October 9th. What are your juice boxes for that one?
Okay, so looking for the Czechia match with Croatia. Croatia is a slight road favorite at a plus 148. Czechia is a plus 199. Your draw is a plus 216.
Very even one in that. And yes, Soccer for Good OG. I don't know what it is, but there are a whole bunch of new fathers with Atlanta United right now. That is very much true. All right. Now, UEFA's in the middle of their window, or maybe towards the back end of their qualifying for some groups. Now we got to get into Africa, because this is where it starts to get a little complicated. You are down to the last 2 games of the window, and they start on Wednesday. So you're going to have games starting Wednesday. It'll run through next Tuesday. Only the 9 group winners assured of a spot. I misspoke earlier. UEFA, all the second place teams go into the playoff, plus some Nations League teams will get into the playoff. So like Germany, even if they don't get into the playoff, the World Cup qualifying, they're in the playoff at least because of Nations League. Africa is the one that is tricky because the group winners go, and then only 4 second place teams go into a playoff to go to the Confederational playoff. So really, really tricky. Here's your big headlines when it comes to African World Cup qualifying. Cape Verde, 1 win away from clinching their first ever appearance at a World Cup. Egypt and Algeria also 1 win away from securing top spot in their groups. The second place ones in that second round, the playoff round for Africa, is going to get really, really interesting. Let's go through the groups here quickly. Group A, Egypt have the 3-point advantage over Burkina Faso. They are at Djibouti on Wednesday, which they should win. I'm assuming you might not have juice boxes on these, John.
I do have on some.
Okay.
All right.
Do you have Egypt at Djibouti?
Hang on. Let's see. So if today is the what? Today's the 6th, so I'm looking for the 8th. Libya, Cape Verde, Oman, and Qatar.
That's Asia.
Yes, and I mean they've all kind of thrown them together with start times.
We'll get to Asia in a minute because that's a whole nother complicated situation.
You ain't kidding. Let's see. We do not have juice boxes for that one.
They're probably a whole lot to a little bit.
Kind of like Egypt, that minus 10,000 that we had.
Yeah, you're probably in that group. Djibouti has only picked up 1 point from 8 games. They're bottom of the group. So if somehow Egypt loses, then they host Guinea-Bissau on Sunday. Egypt will get out of Group A. Now, Burkina Faso are your favorites to get second. They go to Sierra Leone, then they host Ethiopia. They might have to win both to get into the playoff round.
Burkina Faso on the road, favored at a minus 179. Sierra Leone a plus 482, draws a plus 266 in the composite.
And it's tough because of not all the second place teams going. So I don't think anybody else could get there. Burkina Faso maybe will get to the playoff round. If they don't finish second, I don't think Sierra Leone or Guinea-Bissau could get into that round. I think they're too far back.
Now remind me, just so that way I have it in my mind. For these qualifiers, it is still number 1 automatic bid, and then it's playoffs for second place.
Some second place, not all second place.
Got it. Okay.
So it's even more difficult.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Makes
and you're down to the last 2 games. So it's a mess in some groups. Group B, Senegal, they have the driver's seat locked down. Big comeback win or big win on the road at DR Congo last month. They've got a 1-point lead over the Leopards of DR Congo. The Teranga Lions, they will travel to South Sudan on Friday, and then they will host Mauritania. 2 wins will clinch Senegal going through, and when you look at it, they should be very, very comfortable to do that in these 2 games. So Senegal should be fine.
Yep, nothing that far ahead for anything on Friday in the juice boxes yet.
Yeah, not surprised. Looking at what could happen if Senegal doesn't. Sudan has to win both of their games. Senegal has to lose twice for Sudan to win the group. But second place is still possible for Sudan. They have to beat DR Congo to get there. DR Congo could end up being that team. They got to hope Senegal slips up. They got to get maximum points away to Togo and then at home to Sudan. So that DR Congo hosting Sudan game in the last round could be really interesting to see who gets into a playoff. Group C. So this is the one that had the wild situation that came out over these past couple of weeks. where FIFA finally ruled on South Africa using an ineligible player. Should have been suspended on yellow card accumulation. He played, which means it's an automatic forfeit. It took forever for that to actually become official. I believe South Africa is appealing it, which is going to be heard over this next week while games are being played, which makes it even more complicated. I don't know how they get the appeal to go through, because the rule's the rule. He should have been he should have been suspended. They played him anyway. It shouldn't even be a conversation. So that takes South Africa from leading the group to now not leading the group. That puts Benin into the group lead. They're on 14 points. They're ahead on goal differential, 1 goal ahead of South Africa. Nigeria and Rwanda are 3 points back, but it opens the door for Nigeria to possibly win the group. That's another one that, look, Nigeria doesn't have stars above the crest when we talk about World Cup, but when you think of African football, Nigeria is one of the first teams that you think of, and they might not make it. You look at this round of games, Benin, they go to Rwanda and they go to Nigeria. South Africa go to Zimbabwe and then host Rwanda. Nigeria goes to Lesotho. They got to win both games to have a shot to even get into the playoff. It still might not be enough. Fascinating. You got any odds?
Not in those. Everybody's because I think probably the appeal is what is slowing things down when it comes to juice boxes in that group, as they're trying to see if they can get anything posted. I literally have nothing in that group at all with Benin, South Africa, Nigeria, Rwanda, and Lesotho. Nothing.
Yeah, the appeal has nothing to do with the games that are coming up. It's not going to go through.
No.
South Africa's lost the 3 points, and it might cost them a World Cup, which is wild. Group D, another little bit of an Atlanta connection here. Cape Verde, their huge win. It was a blast to watch their win 1-0 over Cameroon last month. They are 4 points clear. So 1 win and they go through. They go to Libya on Wednesday, and then they will host the last team in the group, Eswatini, next Monday. So it might come down. The trip to Libya is not going to be easy. Libya's got a shot here. They got a shot to get into the playoff. It could come down to Cape Verde beating the worst team in the group at home to clinch the World Cup, which I don't want them to sweat it.
Yeah.
But that would be a must watch, even if it's a blowout, because it will be an absolute party if Cape Verde can get there. Cameroon, they could get through if they beat Mauritius away, then they beat Angola at home. And if Cape Verde draws both games or loses a game somewhere through, it's probably not going to happen. But Cameroon needs to maximize their points to get into the playoff. That's another, again, powerhouse in African football. Cameroon beat Argentina in 1990. Roger Mila. I mean, there's so many stories out of Cameroon and how good they have been at World Cups, making it to the quarterfinals in 1990. That's a game that, if you get a chance to find it on FIFA Plus or on YouTube, watch England, Cameroon, World Cup quarterfinal 1990. One of the best games I've ever seen. Crazy game. I think England was up 1-0. Cameroon went up 2-1, which was, absolute shock at that time. England came back and tied it. They went to extra time. England ended up winning it. Incredible game. That might be one that we have to have a watch party for. It was that good.
Early numbers, Cape Verde is a slight favorite at Libya at a plus 171. Libya is a plus 174, draws a plus 184. Cameroon, large favorite, no surprise at Mauritius at a minus 909. Mauritius is a plus 1922 in the composite.
Group E, probably pretty much done even for the second place teams. Morocco's already qualified. They're fine. Tanzania, Niger, and Zambia are trying to get into the playoff spot, but they're all kind of reaching on that one. I don't think they're going to pull that off.
Well, before you continue, you gave a little bit of a tease, but you didn't mention the Atlanta United Cape Verde.
Yes. Aiden Torres. Yes. Family connection with Cape Verde. I believe Aiden, he has played for U.S. youth national teams. I would have to ask him and figure it out if he could even possibly represent Cape Verde. He does have family connections to Cape Verde. I believe he could, because wasn't it one of his parents, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, I believe. I don't.
It wasn't a grandparent. I think it was a parent.
I believe so. I don't remember which. I don't know if it was mom or dad. I'm not for sure.
Yeah,
But
I don't know like passport situation and citizenship, and I don't know any of that.
How
when
many
it comes
steps
to Cape
away
Verde.
do you need to be, and that kind
But
of thing.
yeah, that is something that could get interesting. That would be, I mean, it'd be really cool to see if they get through, and they should get through.
Because you've also got Steven Moreira from Columbus Crew that is
Yep.
a part of that in the conversations that we've had with Chris Doran in the past.
Yep.
When it comes to these international windows, so there are Atlanta ties and MLS ties to Cape Verde, and they just get the win in Libya in a real tough environment. But yes, to your point, if it goes to match day last, because of what it means to that country, that would be a fascinating watch on a bunch of different levels.
Yeah, for sure. Running through the rest of Africa, Ivory Coast, they've got a 1-point lead over Gabon and Denis Bouanga. Held on to a scoreless draw last time those two played. Ivory Coast goes to the Seychelles on Friday and then hosts Kenya on Tuesday. Gabon has to go to the Gambia, and then they host Burundi. Could go either way. Ivory Coast should be fine in that one. Group G, Algeria, 1 win from their last 2. They will go through. They should be fine. Uganda has a possibility here. They're only ahead of Mozambique on goal difference in the battle for second. Both of them are possible to get into the playoff. Tunisia, they've already clinched in Group H. Namibia is trying to get to second, and they should. They're known as the Brave Warriors, one of the great nicknames that you'll find in African football. 4 points ahead of Liberia, 5 points ahead of Malawi and Equatorial Guinea. So they should be fine. But again, because not all the second place teams go, you want to maximize all the points. Ghana, another one of the powerhouses. They have a 3-point lead over Madagascar and Comoros. Comoros 4 points back. Ghana should be fine. They go to the Central African Republic on Wednesday. Comoros host Madagascar in the same day. That'll be a big game to watch. Ghana will qualify if they win and Madagascar don't win. Ghana then, if they don't qualify in game 1 of this window, they will host the Comoros on Sunday. Madagascar goes to Mali. This is a group that could go down to the last day, and there could be some wild scoreboard watching in it.
Mali at Chad on the same day. They are a minus 588 going to Chad at a plus 1698. Madagascar to the Comoros. They're a dog. Comoros favored at home at a plus 122. Madagascar is a plus 219 dog. And Burkina Faso minus 179 at Sierra Leone, who's a plus 482.
So just to add to the ridiculousness here, the best 4 second-place teams across the 9 groups will go into the African playoffs in November. Right now, that would be Gabon, Madagascar, DR Congo, and Burkina Faso. But it might not be that simple because Eritrea withdrew from Group E at the beginning of the campaign. So what they might do is remove the results against the 6th-place finisher. So whoever finished last in your group, that game might be wiped out. So that could change it. That would help Cameroon and South Africa. That would hurt Madagascar and Burkina Faso. But FIFA and the Confederation of African Football have not made an official announcement yet. So you don't really know what you need because it might change underneath you. Mm-hmm. And when you're looking at 2 countries like Cameroon and South Africa is already in an appeal process over 3 points that they should have lost anyway, this could get really weird. Stay tuned. Like, things could change at any time. Honestly, there could be an announcement tomorrow morning about how this is going to look. So that's where it stands right now. The playoff format hasn't been announced yet either. So that could change. Maybe they take 8 and do quarterfinals and semifinals and final. Who knows? Whoever gets through as the winner of the playoff in Africa will go into the interconfederational playoffs, which will be in March next year.
There'll be a test on this later on.
No, there won't. No, there won't, because it is way too complicated. I did say we'd talk about Asia as well. We're not going to get into CONCACAF tonight because that would be another one that would take too long. Asia is down to where it's pretty simple when you get into it. They just have so many rounds of games. They had a qualifying round, essentially, against some of the lower teams in Asia. Then they had a second round with a group stage, home and away, with everybody involved. Then they've had a third round. That's already done. That's where you got teams that booked their automatic qualification, like Iran, Uzbekistan, South Korea, Jordan, Japan, Australia. Now you're going into the fourth round. So you have 2 groups of 3, and the group winners will qualify. The second place teams in the groups of 3 will go to the 5th round. Well, there will play each other to see who goes to the interconfederational playoff. So Group A in Asia, it's Qatar, it's the United Arab Emirates, and it's Oman. Group B is Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Indonesia. So you play each team in your group, and they're going to be played in Qatar for Group A and in Saudi Arabia for Group B. So they will have home field advantage in these games.
Qatar and Oman. Qatar favored at a -161, Oman a +482. And then 2 hours and 15 minutes later, Saudi Arabia favored at a -204 against Indonesia, who's a +590.
There you go. So lots of stuff going on when it comes to World Cup qualifying. Lots of stuff, as always, going on when it comes to the picks of the week. I got to get out the notebook.
Uh-oh.
So
I'm gonna say I don't think I've received the picks today to
well,
choose.
no, you haven't, because I was asleep till 1 o'clock this afternoon. First off,
It's absolutely fair.
and I had a game last night, so no,
And
the
that you
picks have
didn't-
not been revealed.
And you
as of
didn't
yet.
get home until 6:30 this morning. Or...
Yes, so we've got some alterations to picks of the week this week. Please update me in the chat on who won on the offsite juice box section of the picks of the week. And we'll compare notes and see who got what out of that. I'll tell you how ours broke down here in just a second. I got to pull up picks of the week.
I know. I think I lost probably.
You did.
I
did.
Drew won.
Drew won last week. We'll get into how all of that went down. I actually need to double check to see if anybody got the prop, even though it's not going to affect who won. So we're changing it a little bit for this week. We'll get into what that looks like in just a second. 4-card won with a 507. So
Good
I
on you.
think Drew beat you. He did not win the prop bet. I know that much. I did not check the final number of fouls in the Atlanta LAFC game.
I'll look right now.
I'm pulling it now. I got it. It is from last night, according to our friends at SofaScore. 16 fouls.
Yeah, that was the thing that was the other part.
Nobody
with
got
that.
it.
Yeah, because everybody was thinking that Chapman would be in the 20s, which is where he traditionally is, and he just decided to go 16.
Yeah, nobody got that, so nobody lost points there. So, all right, we'll run through it real quick, just how everything went down. Chelsea, they beat Benfica. Sophia and John were the only two to get that one correct. Then the U20 World Cup, Morocco beat Brazil. Nick had that one. Maddie had that one. Drew had that one. I had that one. Celtic and Braga, nobody got it right because Braga beat Celtic.
Yep.
There was some controversy in that, but
Oh, yes, there was.
But yes, Braga beat Celtic, so everybody got that one wrong. Shelbourne and Hacken, that one was a draw, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and everybody got that one wrong in ours as well. So Thursday was a bad day for everybody on Picks of the Week. Friday, Houston Dash and Orlando Pride, that was a draw, and Jarrett got that one right, and Drew got that one right. So at that point, that's where Drew took the lead and kept it the rest of the way. Kyoto Sanga and Kawasaki Frontale, that was a draw. John got that one, so he got back into the positive numbers with that. The only one to get it. So you were 60 points back from Drew after the early game on Saturday. Club America and Santos, it was Club America. You got that one. Drew got that one. Maddie got that one. Sophia got that one. Nick got that one. I got that one. Jarrett picked Santos because Jarrett's a degenerate.
Yes.
Sunday, the Mongolian Premier League, Kangarid and the Hunters. This was actually a wild game.
How wild was it?
Okay, that didn't help. That's not. No, don't. What were you doing?
Obviously, you didn't watch the match game growing up.
No, I did, but it didn't really fit. Like I know the reference, but it didn't really fit where it was going. But anyway, Kangarid and Hunters. So Let me get through the order of this one. Hunters scored first in the 20th minute. Cho Kyung Min. Then in the 37th minute, oh my goodness. Badam Norovan, that's the first name. Namsradori, 37th minute, Hunters 2-0 up. Then in first half stoppage time, I don't have the first name for Kangarid's first goal scorer. Yana Gidate is where I'm going to go with this. He scored, so it was 2-1 at halftime, Hunters. Then Hunters went up 3-1 thanks to Temujin Gan Okir, 66th minute. Then Yana Gidate scored in the 68th minute to make it 3-2. Hunters still leading Kangarid. And then in the 96th minute,
yes,
Kaito Asano, the 23-year-old Japanese midfielder wearing number 88 for Kangarid, he scored in the 96th minute, so it finished 3-3.
Who was the one that you were having who you didn't have the full name?
I can pull it now, I think. Hold on. I just didn't want to hit the button. Kazu Yanagidate, another Japanese player, 32-year-old defender. He had 2 goals on the day.
Yes.
But Kangarid rescued the draw. Sophia picked the draw in that game, so she finished at 7 for the week. Nick picked Hunters. He finished in the negative. John picked Kangarid. He finished at 142. Maddie picked Kangarid. You were in the negative. Jarrett picked Hunters. Negative. I picked Kangarid. Negative. Drew picked the draw, so he extended the lead, and he finished with 527. That is your winning score for the week, 527. And this week, 1, 2, 3 in the positives.
So he beat 4-card by 20.
Yep.
507 to 527.
Yep. But the Kangarid Hunters game was a wild one. I didn't get a chance to watch the Mongolian Premier League, unfortunately, on Sunday.
It's got to be on Fanatis somewhere.
No, it's not on Fanatis. Fanatis does not go to Mongolia. That was 1 versus 2, if I remember right, in the Mongolian Premier League. So Kangarid and Hunters, and now they have been leveled at the top of the table in Mongolia by FC Ulaanbaatar. They are 2 wins and 1 draw. So the Mongolian Premier League might be a must-watch.
Apparently it's on YouTube, according to Ricky.
Yeah, that's right. Are all the games on YouTube? I know the Federation was on YouTube. I don't know if all the games were on YouTube. I'm going to have to go back and watch the highlights from that one. I need to see how Kangarid overturned the 3-1 deficit to get the 3-3 draw.
That's fantastic.
All right, so Drew was out in California as well this week. He was on vacation, so he has not made his 4 picks. So I had to use my executive privilege to make the board for the week, and I made it about a week or about an hour and a half ago. So that is done. We'll get through those in a second. We're starting the games this week on Wednesday. Most of that is because it's international break. We could have got really crazy with picks. I ended up going with all World Cup qualifiers except for one U20 World Cup match. So everything is World Cup related in this window of games. And I've got odds on all but 3. And it's a little tricky because some of these, it's the second game of the week, so they might not have odds yet. But I think we're pretty good with this board. We're going to go with this. Drew will get his picks for games down the line. We'll figure it out. We'll make it up to him at some point. But this will go out to all of us on the SDH side tonight. Maddie, you're going to make your picks live. John, you're going to make your picks live. I'm going to make my picks live. This is old school style. Everybody else will send theirs in. And again, Wednesday is the first game on the board. So 2 games on Wednesday. The first one, we talked about it a little bit ago. Cape Verde at Libya in African World Cup qualifying. Cape Verde is plus 170. This is the official odds. Don't look at yours.
Right.
170 on the positive for Cape Verde. Libya is plus 175. The draw is plus 200. So that is basically a pick 'em.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get my notebook finished. And then we're gonna come up with a prop bet together. That's what we're gonna do.
A community prop bet.
Yeah, I had a couple ideas, but we'll settle on that when we get through the games. So Cape Verde and Libya. Actually, John, can you write down everybody's picks?
Sure.
So I can pull up just a little bit of information on each of the teams as we go through. We talked about this one, and we know kind of what is on the line in this one when you get into it. But I wanted to share with you because I always like the nicknames of national teams. Unfortunately for the U.S., we don't really have a good setup for that. We're just basically the Yanks. That's not fun. Cape Verde's national team, they are known as the Blue Sharks.
Okay.
I support the Blue Sharks.
Yeah.
I'm all down for the Blue Sharks. Libya, what are they known as? Libya, their nickname as a national team is the Mediterranean Knights. The Blue Sharks against the Mediterranean Knights. I like it.
It sounds like somebody that lost to the Wanderers at 3 a.m. or something.
Possibly, yes. Let's see. So I'll give you recent form as well quickly. Let's see here. Head to head. Last time they played was last June, the home game for Cabo Verde in the group, and they won 1-0 at home over Libya. Then your previous two times they played, they hadn't played since 2016 before that. Libya won in 2016 in African Cup of Nations qualifying, and Cabo Verde won in 2015 in AFCON qualifying. So pretty even in the all-time series. Libya has won their last two. They beat Eswatini and they beat Angola. Cape Verde has not lost going back to AFCON qualifying last November to Mauritania. They have 5 wins and 2 draws in their last 7, and that includes international friendlies where they drew with the Republic of Georgia in June. They beat Malaysia and drew with them as well. But that draw with the Republic of Georgia is a pretty good result as well. So Cape Verde and Libya. John, what are you picking? You're writing them down.
Yep. I'm going to go draw.
You're going to go draw.
Because I want the drama of match day last.
Why am I not surprised? You're going draw.
Because they're within the margin of error, dude.
Going draw. Maddie, what are you picking?
I'm going to go with Ricky on this one. Dreams are going to come true on Wednesday at 9 a.m. and Cape Verde is going to be going to the World Cup, and they're going to win this matchup.
Okay. I am going to go... I'm going to go draw as well. I think the pressure gets to Cape Verde a little bit. I think they win at home, and they go through then. Yeah. So, and Will, yes, heard on all fronts. Blue Sharks, yes. Cape Verde, they are an island in the Atlantic Ocean, if I'm not mistaken. This is what I love about the sport, is you learn about places that I will never get a chance to go. It is an island country in West Africa in the Central Atlantic Ocean, consisting of 10 volcanic islands.
Whoa.
That part's not good. Around the Azores, Canary Islands, Madeira, the Savage Isles as well.
There you go. Off of the western coast of Africa.
Yes. Became independent in 1975. They would be, when they qualify, they will be the second smallest country to ever play in a World Cup. Iceland will be a little bit smaller. But yes, there you go.
And if you want to fly there right now, it's $1,500. And it takes you 17 hours and 20 minutes to go from Atlanta to Praia, Cape Verde.
That's a long flight. I don't want to take that flight. Just saying. All right. The second game on the board for Wednesday, we will jump over to the Asian World Cup qualifying. Saudi Arabia hosting Indonesia. Saudi Arabia minus 220, the draw plus 300, Indonesia plus 600. Now, those are interesting odds. You need to understand Indonesia here a little bit because they have never qualified. But this is not your typical Indonesian team at this stage. So let's get into the recent form for these two first, and then we'll get into nicknames and all that. Recent games between these two. In World Cup qualifying, they were in the same group this cycle. Indonesia beat them and drew with them. Beat them at home and then drew in Saudi Arabia last time they played, September of 2024. Then you got to go back to Asian Cup qualifying in 2014 and 2013. Indonesia lost in Saudi Arabia and lost at home. But that draw in Saudi Arabia in September of 24 is really interesting. Saudi Arabia, they played friendlies in September. They drew with Czechia. They beat North Macedonia. That's 2 really good results. They were in the Gold Cup this summer.
Don't remind us.
The U.S. beat them.
No, I was talking about the injury to Jay Fortune.
That's, well, just saying don't remind us is kind of broad and open-ended there, John. I'm like, what are you talking about? They beat Haiti. They lost to the U.S. They drew at Trinidad and Tobago. They injured Jay Fortune. They lost to Mexico in the knockout stage. So Indonesia, in their most recent matches, they played friendlies in September as well. They drew with Lebanon. They beat Chinese Taipei, so not really the same level of competition. They lost in Japan last game in World Cup qualifiers 6-0. They won at home to China. They won at home to Bahrain, both 1-0 results. They got blown out in Australia in March 5-1. So that draw against Saudi Arabia in Saudi Arabia was the first game of the 3rd round. I believe Saudi Arabia has changed coaches since then. I think that might have been the game that caused it, or maybe the next one for Saudi Arabia is what caused the coaching change. So it's okay. It's okay.
I'm just curious now.
Put the phone down.
I'm just curious now. If it's not one of the if it's not Hervé Renard and his
I think he's back now. Oh. He was not there. I think he's back. It was Roberto Mancini at one point. Yeah,
it's Hervé Renard. Yeah.
Yes, he has returned. So the nicknames, because that might be the best way to pick some of these games. The Saudi Arabian national team is known as the Arabian Falcons or the Green Falcons or the Green. Okay. Indonesia, they are known as, if I could type, that would help. They are known as the Garuda team or the red and white. Didn't we go through the Garuda? Didn't Garuda come up in our picks of the week last week?
I thought so, yes.
I think it did. And I think we learned about Garuda last time. It was... no, okay, I was mixing up the two things. Garuda, in many stories, Garuda symbolizes the virtue of knowledge, power, bravery, loyalty, and discipline. As the vehicle of Vishnu, they also bear the attributes of Vishnu, which symbolize preservation of cosmic order. They are known as the majestic king of birds. Okay, yes, that's where we get into the bird-like man and man-like bird situation. Yes, okay, I did remember that. All right, the other thing about this group from Indonesia, managers Patrick Kluivert, they have brought in a lot of Dutch players who have really limited family ties to Indonesia. So you look back at some of the past results and how it has turned. It's a very different group. Kluivert was brought in January. There was a lot of controversy about it because the team was doing well. They went ahead and they made the change. Kluivert lost that game to Australia badly, but then they got the 2-1-0 wins at home. That's what got them through to this 4th round. So they have qualified in a way. They were the Dutch East Indies in the past, and they were in a World Cup in 1938. But as Indonesia, they have never qualified. So that's your history lesson. That's your stories. What are we picking? John, you go first.
Saudi Arabia.
You're picking Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie, what are you picking?
This one's hard because I'm really leaning, I want to say Saudi Arabia, but I also really am thinking maybe it's a draw, just because one small insight, if you look at the last 5 matches for Saudi Arabia, they have not kept a clean sheet in 5 matches. So I don't know. Oh gosh. YOLO. I'm going to go YOLO. It's going to be a draw. 2-2 draw is what I'm thinking.
I'm going to go draw as well on that. And I need to check where you can watch these games,
This
actually.
this one's on Fanatis and Fubo.
Wow.
Got to be on the BNs.
Did BN get the Asian games? They might have. It moved. It used to be with Paramount. I'm going to double check.
From what it's saying on mine for Indonesia and Saudi, you can watch it on Fubo as well as on Fanatis.
Okay. Hold on one sec. Of course, I can't find it. Okay, then I think it is on BN. So if you get wherever you get BN, and we get it through Fanatis because we're sickos, but you can get it in other places. Fubo TV is one place you can get it. So yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, I got it now. Yeah, so it's a BN. BN picked up the rights to Asia. ESPN picked up the rights to Africa. So that's where you've had the change. So Asia, Ricky, Asia BN, Africa BN, or no, Africa, sorry, ESPN now. Europe is Fox Networks, and it is on VIX as well. Like if it's not on FS1 or FS2, you can get it on VIX. CONCACAF is on Paramount. Okay, there you go. That's where it's all moved. And I think some of that's moved like during the cycle, so it's been really confusing at times. All right, let's go to Thursday on Picks of the Week. We'll go to Europe. Scotland hosting Greece. The Scots plus 185 to win. Greece plus 165 to win on the road, so they are a road favorite. The draw is plus 200. Interesting. Let's go to your recent form with this one and recent results. Last time they played was in March in the Nations League, and they were in a playoff for promotion relegation. Scotland won in Greece 1-0, and then Greece won in Scotland 3-0. So crazy results there. This game is in Scotland. It is the first of two over these next two cycles between these two teams. Scotland in recent form, they won at Belarus last time out. They drew in Denmark scoreless. That's a pretty good result. Then in international friendlies back in the summer, they beat Liechtenstein, big whoop. They lost to Iceland. Greece, they lost at home to Denmark 3-0 last time. They beat Belarus at home 5-1. Their summer friendlies were wins over Bulgaria and Slovakia. So, kind of a mixed bag of results when you get into it. What are you going to pick, John?
Mixed bag of results equals draw.
You're going draw. Maddie, what you picking? Scotland and Greece.
Oof. Yeah, this one's also insane. But just because of the recent form, you know what? I'm going to go. I think it's. Oh my gosh. These are hard this time. This is like hard. I'm going to go Greece because last time they were in Scotland, Greece got the result. And I think it's interesting that it's flipped where it's when they go to Greece, Scotland got the result. When they went to Scotland, Greece got the result. So I'm going to go Greece. I think they'll win this one.
I'm going Scotland. I think they're going to be all fired up on haggis and iron brew, and they're going to get the win. They need it badly. So I'm going Scotland. I want them to get to the World Cup. I might be rooting for Scotland more than I'm picking Scotland.
And
they're going down on the board.
Scotland it would be cool to have Scotland.
The pre-game ceremonies.
Yes.
That should be absolutely amazing. I imagine that they would probably have a bagpiper doing the anthem on a rooftop. It'd be a great
You know what?
visual.
Actually, hold on. Can I change my pick or is it solidified?
You can
I wrote it down, but you can change
it.
I might go Scotland. Because I think you bring up a good point about the fire and just they need a result and they might be hyped up on adrenaline and everything else.
Haggis.
Yes. So you know what? I'll change it. I'm going to go Scotland.
Okay.
All right. I am going Scotland.
I do think it'll be close. Like, I think it'll be like 1-1 for a hot minute, and then like last minute stoppage time, it's going to go on the stick, and it's going to be 2
at the death.
At the death. That's what I think is going to happen.
I think the Scots are going to get their revenge. I'm going with Scotland in that one. Then our other game on Thursday, USA, Italy, U20 World Cup, round of 16. The U.S. in the tournament has been very good. Italy got through, but they are not looked at as a contender. These teams have never played at the U20 level, from what I can tell. The U.S. did lose last time out. They were already qualified. They lost to South Africa 2-1. They beat France 3-0. They beat New Caledonia 9-1. Italy in the tournament, they lost to Argentina last time out. They drew 2-2 with Cuba, and they beat Australia 1-0. The numbers on the board for this one, the U.S. plus 138, the draw plus 200, Italy plus 210. John, what are you picking?
U.S.
I'm picking the U.S. as well. Maddie?
I'm going the U.S. too.
Everybody picking the U.S. except for Nick, probably. Actually, he probably will pick against Italy.
Nick would probably go against Italy, yeah.
All right. So Thursday, we're doing 3 games as well. Honduras and Costa Rica in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. We didn't get a chance to really dig into CONCACAF in this round of games because it is so chaotic. But Honduras and Costa Rica is in a bad spot here as they really need a win. This game will be played in Honduras. Last time these teams played was Nations League qualifying for Copa America in March of 24. Costa Rica won that one at home. Last time they played in Honduras was qualification cycle for the 2022 World Cup. That was a scoreless draw. So, recent games for Honduras. They beat Nicaragua at home 2-0 last time out. They drew in Haiti. That's your 2 games so far in this cycle. At the Gold Cup, in the knockouts, they lost to Mexico in the second round of the knockouts after getting through Panama on penalties. Costa Rica, under our friend Piojo Herrera, who is insane. They have drawn twice, a 1-1 draw at Nicaragua, which was a very bad result for Costa Rica, and then a crazy 3-3 draw with Haiti, where Costa Rica scored in the first minute. They then scored in the 35th. They're up 2-0. Then Duckins Nazone went off for Haiti. He scored 3 in the 55th, the 58th, and the 86th. But then Costa Rica scored in the 91st to get the draw. So in their group C of CONCACAF, Honduras is on 4 points, Costa Rica is on 2, Haiti's on 2, Nicaragua is on 1. This is critical for Costa Rica. You always run the risk of getting fired if you're in Costa Rica at any time. So Miguel Herrera could be on the chopping block if they don't get the result here. We don't have odds for this one. Do you have odds for this one, John?
I do not.
Yeah, I don't think there's any odds for this one.
I have a fun tidbit before we pick, if you want it.
Okay.
I was looking through the head-to-head between these sides.
Yeah.
So Honduras has only beat Costa Rica twice. And when those were? 2013. One was July 21st, 2013, October 11th, 2013. But do you want to know those 2 wins? They were at home.
Okay.
All
right. Well, Honduras is a plus 100 according to our default odds. The draw is plus 125. Costa Rica plus 150. John, what are you picking?
Honduras.
You're going with Honduras. Maddie, what are you picking?
I'm also going Honduras.
I love me some Piojo Herrera. This is a tough one.
Beto.
I don't know. This is a tough one. I wanted to share the nicknames of these teams. The Ticos,
Los
Ticos from Costa Rica. Yep. And the Catrachos from Honduras, or La H. Man, I'm going to go with the draw again. Yeah, I feel draw in this one because I don't think this Costa Rican team is all that great. I don't think the Honduran team is all that great either. So I think they cancel each other out a little bit, and Costa Rica just keeps on sweating as they try to get back into a spot. I think they draw.
Not great plus not great equals draw.
I think it could be an interesting draw, but I think it's a draw. All right, we're going to stay in CONCACAF for Friday. Curacao hosting Jamaica. So we don't have odds on this one either. So Curacao at home plus 100. The draw is plus 125. Jamaica plus 150. Here's the update in their group. It's Group B. Jamaica 2-0, 6 goals scored, none conceded. They're on 6 points. Curacao 1 win, 1 draw, plus 1 on the goal differential. They are on 4 points. Trinidad and Tobago on 1, Bermuda on 0. Recent results between these two, they were in the Gold Cup in or just in the Gold Cup previously in the past. So in 2017, Jamaica beat Curacao 2-0. In 2019, they drew 1-1. Recent results, Curacao, they beat Bermuda at home 3-2 last time out. They drew at Trinidad and Tobago to open World Cup qualifying, scoreless draw there. They didn't get out of the group at the Gold Cup over the summer. They had draws with El Salvador and Canada and a loss to Honduras. Jamaica, their 2 wins, one at home over Trinidad and Tobago, one on the road at Bermuda 4-0. Gold Cup, they didn't get out of the group either. They beat Guadeloupe, but that was sandwiched by losses to Guatemala and Panama. A very disappointing Gold Cup for Jamaica. That last time out, the 2-0 win at home over Trinidad and Tobago. Who were your goal scorers? Because Jamaica, you expect to see some players that you might know from watching games in England, but it hasn't quite happened enough for Jamaica, honestly. That's why they're still a little dicey in this situation. But they are on the road at Curacao on Friday. What are you picking, John?
I'm going to go with Jamaica in this one.
You're going to go Jamaica on the road.
On the road.
Maddie, what are you picking?
I'm also going Jamaica on the road.
I'm going with the home team, Curacao. You're disrespecting the home team in Curacao in this game. I think they're going to get the win. I wanted to find their nickname because I don't know what it is off the top of my head. They also have Dutch heritage. They're nicknamed the Blue Family or the Blue Wave. That's very nice. Who is their head coach? Is Dick Advocaat.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
been
right.
around forever. He is 78 years old. He played in the old, I believe that was the United Soccer Association in 1967. He also played in the North American Soccer League for the Chicago Sting in 1979 and 1980. Dick Advocaat.
Read that list.
He started managing in 1980. He has managed the Dutch women's national team, HFC Haarlem, SVV, Dordrecht, the Dutch national team, PSV, Rangers, the Dutch national team again, Borussia Mönchengladbach, the United Arab Emirates, South Korea, Zenit St. Petersburg, Belgium, AZ, Russia, PSV, AZ again, Serbia, Sunderland, Fenerbahce, the Dutch again in 2017, Sparta Rotterdam, Utrecht, Feyenoord, Iraq, ADO Den Haag, and now Curacao
26.
since 2024.
26.
He has managed a lot of different teams
Wow.
over the place. And he is with Curacao. I think believing.
Didn't they just sign him to an extension? I
mean, probably. They might as well at this point. So, yes, they have never been to a World Cup. When did they first even try? So, okay, the first national team to bear the name Curacao was the Territory of Curacao national team in 1924 when they played Aruba. The Territory of Curacao became the Netherlands Antilles in 1954. They were designated a country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, which included the island of Aruba, Bonaire, Saba, Saint Eustatius, and Saint Martin.
Saint Eustatius.
Yeah. So the Curacao team then became the Netherlands Antilles national team, representing all 6 islands. In 1986, Aruba became a country within the kingdom in its own right. So then the Aruban players they didn't represent the Dutch Antilles anymore. In October of 2010, the Netherlands Antilles were dissolved. Curacao and Saint Martin became countries in their own right. Bonaire, Saba, and Saint Eustatius became part of the Netherlands proper. So Curacao is not a sovereign state. They became the FIFA successor to the Netherlands Antilles in 2011. So they took on the historical records and FIFA ranking and all that of the Netherlands Antilles. They played their first match as the newly formed Curacao national team in 2011. So qualifying for 2018, they got past Cuba on away goals, so they got into the next round. They haven't been to this stage this close in a long time. Soccer for Good OG, my guess is there probably is some coach somewhere who has managed more teams, but not many, and probably not at the level that Dick Advocaat has worked at.
Bora has managed the most national teams with 8.
Yes.
5 different nations and 8 teams in general, 8 countries overall, 5 different nations in the World Cup. So Bora has the most. Mexico, Costa Rica, USA, Nigeria, China, 5 of those 8.
The player that you will know for Curacao is Aloy Room at 36 years old. He is not with a club, but he is still in the national team at this stage. I guess he's just playing in the local league in Curacao.
He's just kind of hanging out. Yeah.
He's just kicking it.
He's at like Willemstad, and he's just kind of chilling.
No telling. All right, so that is Friday's game. We got game on Saturday and game on Sunday to finish out picks of the week. Saturday, Serbia and Albania is the game that I chose. That one is going to be very, very interesting for a lot of different reasons. Serbia is a minus 160. The draw is plus 250. Albania is plus 490. John, what do you want to pick? I'll give you a little bit more to make your selection. Let me get that for you.
I mean, with all the hatred, I think I pretty much.
Well, wait.
Oh, I want the full 4-1-1.
So Serbia and Albania. Albania is ahead of Serbia in the group. They're both fighting for second place to get to the playoff in UEFA. Last time they played, it was a scoreless draw at Albania. That was in June. Euro qualification in 2015, Serbia won in Albania 2-0. And in 2014, they did not play in Serbia. I believe that one was a forfeit. It says postponed here. I think it was a forfeit because it's got Albania as a 3-0 winner. Most recent results for these two. Serbia got blown out by England last time out, 5-0. They won at Latvia 1-0. They beat Andorra 3-0 at home in Serbia after that scoreless draw with Albania. Albania, in their World Cup qualifiers as of late, they won at home over Latvia 1-0. They beat Gibraltar in a friendly in September 1-0 in Gibraltar. That's not really a good result. Drew in Latvia in June, and the draw with Serbia before that. They beat Andorra 3-0, and they lost in England. But losing to England 2-0 in England is a good result. So, mixed bag of form for these two teams. What are you picking, John?
I'm going to pick a highly contested, nasty match, 90 minutes worth of sandpaper and just cards everywhere. So I'm going draw. Nothing will be resolved with this one.
Draw? Yep. Maddie, what are you picking?
I'm going Albania.
Take the number. That's a big number.
Okay.
I'm taking it. My reasoning is thanks to my FootMob app. Albania hasn't lost in 5 matches. And you know what? YOLO. That's basically my reasoning too. YOLO.
She's going Leroy Jenkins with her picks.
Fair enough. I'm going to go Serbia at home.
I do agree with John. I think it is going to be an absolute cage fight. I think it's going to be insane. I think Albania finds a way to find it. If it's last minute, if it's a penalty, if it's something, I think they find something.
I think Serbia gets it done. I think it will be ugly and very contentious.
Mm-hmm.
Last one in picks of the week as we try to wrap up here. Sunday, Mali and Madagascar. Madagascar on the road. There are no odds in this one. Mali is plus 100 according to our default. The draw is plus 125. Madagascar plus 150. These teams will have played earlier in this window. That's why there's no odds for this one yet. Recent matches between them, it was a draw in Madagascar back in June of 24. For Mali, they lost last time out in Ghana. They beat Comoros at home in the September window. For Madagascar, 2 wins last time out. They won at home against Chad. They won at home against the Central African Republic. In the African Nations Championship, which is a little bit different. I talked about it on a Morning Espresso. It's players who play in their domestic leagues. Madagascar did get to the knockout stage. Sorry, they lost to Morocco 3-2 in the last match of that one. They had a really good tournament. Madagascar has a shot here to get into the next round of World Cup qualifying, to get into the playoff. Mali does not. Does Mali be a spoiler in this? We're going to find out. And we have to get the nicknames because we're trying to be consistent with our talk about these teams. Mali, they have been in a World Cup before. It's been a while. They are known as the Eagles. Very simple. Very simple for Mali. Madagascar, what is their nickname? Actually, I don't know. They have never been to a World Cup. They Berea? I don't know what that means. It just says Berea.
Huh.
Well, let's see. Because this is what we do. We learn things. Let's see if we can learn about what that means. It's not JJ Barea, the
Not
Puerto
JJ
Rican
Barea, the
basketball
point
coach.
guard. Yeah.
That is not it. I need to know more about Madagascar because I need to know if I'm going to pick them or not. Okay.
They're the fence.
A concealer moth. It's a moth?
It doesn't sound very threatening.
Yeah, what? I need to know more about what. Okay. Oh, here we go. There is a Tumblr article about it. They are commonly nicknamed as Berea.
Wrong.
Oh, here we go. Bereas are a type of zebu found in Madagascar. Zebus are not native of Africa, were transported there from Asia many years ago. There are 75 different species of zebu. Half of them are to be found in Africa. They're mainly used for light agricultural work. So it's kind of like a
not so threatening bull.
now I got to get into what a zebu is. It's like it's a cow. It's cattle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say you brought up the name. You brought up Tumblr, and I just got like that was I haven't heard of Tumblr.
I know. Look, this is what we have to do sometimes to learn about these teams. So zebu are a type of domestic cattle originating in South Asia. They are distinguished by a fatty hump on their shoulders, loose skin, because that was what stood out. They have like a lot of loose skin like under their neck on their chest. So they are basically the cattle. Madagascar. So I'm picking Madagascar for that.
Okay, so you're picking Madagascar.
Actually, I really just want them to make it to the World Cup. That'd be very cool.
Yeah.
I'm picking Madagascar.
Okay.
I'm also gonna pick Madagascar.
Yeah, I'm picking Madagascar as well.
Everybody's picking against Mali and going with Madagascar.
So Maddie's picking Maddie.
Yeah. Is there a species of cockroach named for Madagascar? That does sound familiar, Soccer for Good OG. I think that's correct.
Oh.
Well, what did you pick in the Albania Serbia?
I picked Serbia.
Serbia. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, let's clean that up real quick, and then we'll get our news dump, and then we'll get out of here for this.
I do have to do an Irish goodbye as well, but
well, that's not Irish goodbye. You don't announce.
Yeah, you just jet.
Well, I mean, then I'm
disappears. You're doing a normal goodbye.
Normal goodbye, but I do have to depart. But yes, that was very fun. I learned a couple things today, which was great.
You learned about the zebu,
mm-hmm.
And you also learned that there is a Madagascar hissing cockroach.
Whoa!
It hisses.
That's scary.
It's native to Madagascar.
Yeah, and it can stay there.
I don't want a hissing cockroach.
Not so much.
It's wingless and it hisses at you.
Yeah, that's not happening.
If it's like scurrying at you and it's just
no.
That's scary. I don't like that.
No.
There you go.
No.
Hopefully, we all avoid the hissing cockroaches.
Are you going to go away from your pick of Madagascar because they have a hissing
cockroach? No, I'm going to keep it because honestly, maybe that's also like it's threatening as well. So you know what I do?
So you have a hissing cockroach and a cattle with a fatty hump that does light work.
Yes,
light work.
I kind of like it.
Yes, just light work.
Everyone avoid the hissing cockroaches and have a great week, y'all.
Adios. That was Madison Cruz. We have to, as we always do, check to see if Nicholas Bentner has done anything stupid as
Lord
of late.
Bentner, what have you done?
It appears that he has not.
Nothing this week?
TalkSport has an article about Victor Gyökeres as being made to look like Nicholas Bentner, but it's not his fault. A Arsenal fan compared Gyökeres to Nicholas Bentner. I mean, okay.
Wow.
TalkSport's really struggling.
Yeah, it's like we need content in the international window.
One Arsenal fan phoned to TalkSport Breakfast to talk about Gyökeres and said that Mikel Arteta's not using him properly. He's not getting the best out of him. He's using him like Nicholas Bentner. He's just launching the ball up to him. He's not playing him through balls. Okay.
Sure thing.
Let's see if this one has anything to do with Nicholas Bentner. No, that's old. I don't know why that is on that site. So, yeah, Nicholas Bentner hasn't done anything stupid lately. Good for him. That's an improvement.
That's one.
That's an improvement. We might have to go to old stories on Nicholas Bentner to fill out this portion of the show down the road. Let's see if Mauro Icardi has done anything stupid.
Or Wanda.
It's very possible that he has.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to go with this one. The 3 reasons for Icardi's unhappiness have emerged.
Okay.
So I guess he is having bad behaviors at Galatasaray. He's unhappy. The 3 main reasons, according to Haberler.com, for why he's unhappy.
Number 1.
He's not happy with being on the bench because he was benched in the Liverpool and Besiktas big matches. Galatasaray beat Liverpool. He came off the bench in that one. He was dropped to the bench, blah, 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 blah. Victor Osimhen is there as well, who's playing very well, yada, yada. His contract is coming up as well. Galatasaray are not extending it as of yet. It expires at the end of the season. There have been discussions, so not happy about that. And then the biggest reason for Icardi's unhappiness is his family problems. He divorced Wanda Nara officially in Milan on March 21st. Now he's fighting a legal battle in both Argentina and Turkey to gain custody of their daughters. He applied to the Istanbul family court here recently, waiting on the outcomes of the cases in Argentina. So, yes, that is why he is not happy right now. He has scored 5 goals in 9 games.
And he's having to deal with courts in 2 separate countries?
Yes, because I think Wanda went back to Argentina.
Okay.
So he's had to deal with 3 different countries, actually, because the divorce went down in Italy. Now she is in Argentina.
And he is in Turkey.
And he is in Turkey. I think she is still with the Argentine rapper, actually. The Argentine hip-hop star.
That is, 3 separate countries and having to deal with custody cases, that is no bueno.
And Icardi's current lady friend, China Suarez, sold her Italian pad in Palermo for $1.3 million.
And that's probably going to go to help pay the legal bills that Mauro has right now with 2.
I don't know if she's paying for his legal bills. I don't know about that. And then a sports commentator in Turkey is saying players should not go on vacation during the international break. It doesn't suit Galatasaray's greatness. Says Icardi and Leroy Sané should not go on vacation. They should make a little effort so they don't raise doubts. They should not go on vacation. They should train and sacrifice a bit. Is the break 4 days? Don't go, my brother. Stay and do your training.
Mauro Icardi's going to end up in Charlotte.
It's very possible. He could end up anywhere with China Suarez. There's no telling. Yeah, that would be hilarious. Mauro Icardi is not built for Major League Soccer. Neither is Nicholas Bentner. Neither are a lot of players. MLS is its own animal. It's going to be a weird week around the league with games going on during the break, makeup games from stuff that got postponed earlier, like Atlanta United, Inter Miami. Atlanta United might have 13 outfield players this weekend in Fort Lauderdale. Just buckle up. It's going to be a weird week. Thank you for bearing with us for a little bit different version of soccer over there. I made it awake through the entire show, which I wasn't entirely sure of when the day started.
Your ride home is down a straight road, so you'll be okay.
Yes. This time last night, I was starting the second half at BMO Stadium in California. Now I'm here. I flew back. I watched the newsroom 4 episodes. I'm going to try to get back on a normal sleep cycle. I make no guarantees. There should be a morning espresso tomorrow morning. Hopefully it will make sense. That part I definitely don't guarantee. But thank you to everybody for watching. Again, thank you to our new partners, the Brewhouse Cafe, our official pub partner on the SDH network, and our official craft beer partner, Nofo Brewing.
Coast to coast pick 6 for Jacksonville.
Jacksonville making plays. That's disturbing. And don't forget, Around the Corner Lager, our SDH branded beer, is coming exclusively to the brew house in 2 weeks. It will be available the weekend of Decision Day, the 18th and 19th of October. We got a big event on the 19th here at the brew house in conjunction with the Little 5 Points Halloween Parade. That's going to be chaos. Beer is chaos. It's all chaos. International break is chaos. We will try to make sense of it during the week. SDH AM 9:05, Monday through Friday. There is a best of on Saturday mornings on Odyssey. All the things All the things are happening. We try to be a distraction. We try to entertain. We try to sometimes inform. We do try to tell you things you didn't already know. We try not to disturb you too much with those things, but we make no guarantees, especially about hissing cockroaches.
Oof.
That'll do it for this edition of Soccer Over There. Y'all have a good week. We'll talk to you soon. Adios.